Guess what? Reclaiming your authentic self is always possible. Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast. A podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self love and self respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. By the end of this episode, you'll discover how self love can help you reconnect with parts of yourself that were hidden by fear, shame, or past experiences. Why reclaiming your identity is one of the most powerful acts of pride and personal healing, and how it's never too late to return to something you love and create a meaningful new chapter in your life. Today's conversation is about believing that your story isn't over and that reclaiming your authentic self is still possible. This episode will remind you that your comeback may be closer than you think. Hello again, I'm Stef and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace your 2S LGBTQIA plus identity with pride through self love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQIA plus spectrum, we are all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone. And this podcast is here to help you. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I will share my journey, and we will all share journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Today, I want to talk again about something very personal, something emotional, especially for Pride season, and something that still surprises me every time. Going back to figure skating at my age. For me, this isn't just about skating again. It's about reclaiming my identity. It's about pride. It's all about learning how to truly love myself. Because for many years, the ice was not just a place where I skated, it was a place where I felt alive, a place where I felt free, a place where I felt like myself. When I was a child, skating quickly became my passion. I loved creating, I loved performing, I loved expressing myself. On the ice, I felt confident, I felt strong, I felt like I belonged. But outside of the ice, things were very different. I was dealing with homophobia, bullying, fear, shame, loneliness. And slowly, without even realizing it, skating started to change for me. Competitions became extremely hard, not because I didn't have the ability, but because my anxiety was overwhelming. Weeks before competitions, my body would already be in a survival mode. I would lose sleep. I would experience panic attacks. My entire nervous system was trying to protect me. And when I stepped onto the ice, something very difficult would happen. I would lose the feeling of my legs. I would fall. I would trip. I would make mistakes. And I could not understand why. I was training well. I was strong. I had the skills. But when I stepped onto the ice for competition, my body was shut down. The shame that followed those performances destroyed my confidence. And I repeated that cycle over and over again. Eventually, I quit competitive skating at 17 after making it to nationals in Canada. I moved into performing professionally, touring in ice shows, and later coaching. But over time, I slowly disconnected from skating completely. And eventually, I stopped in my early 30s. For many years, not skating, not coaching, not performing. I disconnected from that entire part of my identity. I later went back to skating and coaching for a few years, but it was not the same and quit again. Looking back today, I realized something very important. I wasn't just leaving skating, I was leaving a part of myself. because skating represented something deeper. It represented little Steph before the abuse, before the shame, before the fear. That little boy who loved creating, performing, and dreaming. And years later, after a long healing journey, something changed. I started reconnecting with myself through therapy, through reflection, through learning how to love myself. And about a year and a half ago, I stepped back on the ice to skate again and compete. I still remember that feeling. I felt like coming home, but going back was not easy. Coming back after so many years is not just about putting my skates back on. It's about rebuilding strength, rebuilding endurance, rebuilding trust in my body, and doing all of this at 57 years old with a completely different body than the one I once had. Living with a chronic condition and a diagnosis of fibromyalgia makes it even more challenging. But I didn't want to live with regrets anymore. I didn't want to look back one day and ask myself, what if I had tried? Because this truly felt like my second chance. And something magical happened about a year ago. For the first time in more than 15 years, I stepped onto the ice in front of judges and an audience. The fear inside me was incredibly intense. The self doubt, the anxiety, the instinct to hide. But this time, something was different. Today, I know how to talk to myself with kindness. Today, I know how to take care of myself when fear shows up. Today, I understand that fear is often the voice of past experiences trying to protect me. And that changed everything. Then recently, something even more powerful happened. I stepped onto the ice and I experienced something I had never felt before: confidence, ease, presence, joy. For the first time, I felt truly there. I felt my legs. That may sound simple, but for me, it means everything. Because for years, my body would shut down when fear showed up. But this time, I was grounded, present, proud. When I took my starting position, I was right in front of the judges, and I looked at them directly in the eyes with pride, not with fear, not with shame. And in that moment, I realized something incredibly powerful. This is the greatest gift I have ever given myself. Because going back on the ice is not about competition, it's about self love, it's about reclaiming who I truly am. And now this journey becomes even more meaningful. I've just returned from the ISU Adult International Competition in Oberstdorf, Germany, where I had an incredible experience competing against skaters from around the world and reconnecting with dear friends I love and had missed so much. And this week, I'm heading to Valencia, Spain, for the Gay Games, an event that means so much to me, both as an athlete and as a proud member of the 2S LGBTQI plus community. And this is not just about competing. This is about standing proudly as a queer man, returning to something I once lost and doing it with pride. I also think about the younger version of myself, the young Stef who felt ashamed, the young Stef who felt afraid, the young Stef who didn't feel safe. And now I'm going back on the ice for him too, to give him what he never had, to give him safety, to give him joy, to give him pride. Because being back on the ice today is about reclaiming who little Steph was before the abuse. It's about rediscovering who I truly am. It's about giving that little boy the comfort, safety, and love for his passion that were taken away from him. And that is why this journey is so emotional for me. because this is not just about skating. It's about identity, it's about pride, it's about self love. For so many years, I was surviving. Today, I am living. I am no longer hiding who I am. I am finally happy with who I am. I finally love who I am. And that changes everything. Every practice becomes more than training. It becomes healing. Every step forward becomes more than progress. It becomes reclaiming my identity. And if this is possible for me at 57 years old, after years of survival, fear, and silence, then imagine what's possible for you because your story is not over. Your comeback is always possible. And sometimes going back to what you once loved is one of the most powerful acts of self love you can ever give yourself. And for me, that place is the ice, and I'm going back. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Today, we talked about how self love can help us reconnect with the parts of ourselves that fear, shame, and past experiences may have caused us to leave behind. We explored how reclaiming your identity can be one of the most powerful acts of pride and healing you can give yourself. And most importantly, we were reminded that it's never too late to return to something you love and create a meaningful new chapter in your life. No matter where you are in your journey, I hope this episode reminds you of one thing: your story is not over, your comeback is always possible. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I'd love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. The world needs your story. It has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. Reach out and send me an email today. Also, I'm now booking keynote speaking engagements. My talk is From Survival to Self Love: How I Finally Learned to Embrace My LGBTQ Identity with Pride, and How You Can Too. Details at togethermovingforwardpodcast.com under speaking. It is already time to say au revoir just for now. Join me every Monday for brand new episodes of the Together Moving Forward podcast and learn how to embrace your 2S LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self love. Wherever you're from in the world, we are all connected. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. Before we close with our weekly positive thought, I want to tell you what this one personally means to me, especially with this episode and pride. I deserve to live my life authentically and joyfully. For me, this means no longer hiding parts of who I am to make others comfortable. It means allowing myself to take up space, to be seen, and to pursue the things that bring me joy without shame or apology. For many years, fear, self doubt, and past experiences convinced me that I needed to stay small, stay safe, and let go of parts of myself. But today, I understand that living authentically is one of the greatest gifts I can give myself. Returning to the ice, embracing my identity, and celebrating pride are all parts of my journey. They are reminders that I deserve joy, I deserve happiness, I deserve to be fully myself. And so do you. Because the moment we stop simply surviving and start fully embracing who we are, everything begins to change. Now is the time to put your head on your heart and repeat after me. Yes, you and me together, this week positive thoughts. I deserve to live my life authentically and joyfully. Yep, I deserve to live my life authentically and joyfully. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection, to pride, freedom, healing, and love. Together moving forward. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for sharing this journey of growth and love. I truly appreciate you. See you real soon. Ciao. Do you know anyone in the LGBTQ plus community who feels disconnected from their true self, wishing they could embrace their identity with confidence and pride? Share this episode now and help them step into self-love and self-respect so they can truly celebrate who they are with pride, feel empowered, and make a real difference in our community.